Rodriguez's deputies participated in recent trainings regarding the sovereign movement hosted by the Colorado State Patrol. In Alamosa, during the training, they indicated that the number one domestic terrorists in the United States are sovereign citizens, he recalled, while not revealing too much about the training because it was quote-unquote confidential. Ricky Rodriguez said one of the things he learned was not to debate sovereigns about constitutional rights. Basically, they said not to get into it and let them rant and rave about it, he explained. Ricky Rodriguez's department shares information with the FBI about sovereign activity in Costilla County, he said, declining to go into specifics. Safety is our main issue. We don't know what they're capable of doing, he continued. 90% of the time, they won't talk to us, but we keep an eye out on social media. He estimated that the number of sovereigns living in the San Luis Valley has fluctuated between 10 people to upwards of 100 during the past several years. Besides Costilla and McDonald, the people most affected by their arrest were the two code enforcement officers, Cruz Soto and Colleen Romero. Cruz Soto is the current undersheriff. Colleen Romero is the soil sample person, planning and zoning. Was business, private, but now part of the requirements. So hopefully there's a bunch of don't tread on me. You had that Heckman, a whole bunch of people that's right there on the edge. According to Colleen Romero, you can't have a septic tank on the edge of the gorge. You can't have a septic tank on the edge of the gorge, so therefore you can't build a house. So there's several homesteads that's right there on the edge of the gorge. There's Roman Bertini. There was the Melissa Shimkovitz. And then there's the Heckman. Uriah Ariel Heckman. So I know Colleen Romero is a stickler for the rules. And since they won't pass their soil, I went into Costilla County doing it correctly, but they kind of acted like they had caught me, which was weird because I said, hey, what is the legal pathway to, get a house here? And they kind of said this and that, but I don't know if they actually had a nice, clear-cut procedure about how to, get all the permits that you need and then, eventually become a full-fledged homeowning person in Colorado. But you got to have a septic tank. You also got to have a cistern, and you also supposed to have electricity too. And then these permits now, they're like charging $1,000 a piece. So they're only encouraging people to not pay them, to not do anything with planning and zoning. And actually, one of the deputies had said he didn't give a damn about planning and zoning. So is that coming from the top? Is that the sheriff? Does the sheriff not give a damn about planning and zoning? Because you don't want to be too much. You don't want to be draconian, but a nice orderly development. And then also, if a person has their permit, does that not say that they're a lawful person? If a person has a permit, does that not say that they are, at least trying to be on the correct side of the law? So hopefully Colleen Romero, takes a look at those illegal settlements in Costilla County. Because if you're, taking a look at the sovereign movement, well, illegal settlements, right? The ones that come in and say, hey, I'm not going to do anything planning and zoning. And then they also, there's a whole list of things that this, he's a weirdo. He's got a whole pile of kids in a tiny little house. And he's also Gen Xer, so he's, 40s, 50s. He's up there in age. He comes from Alabama, and, that should have been enough of a red flag right there, frankly. Cruz Soto and Colleen Romero are tasked with patrolling the valley each day to look for land use violations. On May 3rd, I was approved to go on a ride along with Colleen Romero, Cruz Soto, and their boss, Land Use Administrator T. Martinez. That's Trinidad Martinez, right? They had never taken a reporter along before and had adapted a liability form from the Sheriff's Department, which included this line: I understand that code enforcement activities are inherently dangerous and that even though officers will do everything possible to keep me safe, it is not possible to make me immune from risk of all injuries up to and including death. Soto and Romero never go out on patrol without bulletproof vests. Just wait till you see the bullet holes in our car. Cruz, Soto joked before we headed out in a car that turned out did not have any bullet holes in it, but out on the prairie, with its flat expanses bordered on, there's 6 cops that I like Serpico. Al Pacino, Serpico, will you want to come out to Serpico? Al Pacino, Attica. No, that's probably, but Serpico. Serpico saw that all the damn officers were on the take. They were on the take. The mafia was sitting there paying them to shut their damn mouths. They were taking their checks. But Serpico wasn't going to take his check. And then he started, investigating them and saying, hey, no, that you guys are crooked cops. Now you're crooked cops. Serpico was the only good cop, just like Willis Russell, Kentuckian U.S. Marshal in Owen County, took on the KKK single-handedly, went up to the main fucking Grand, Musketeer or Mouseketeer KKK and just arrested that rat, bastard SOB. Right in front of his whole crew. And then, his whole crew came marching along and trying to intimidate him. But Willis Russell, check him out, one of the best police officers ever. Bass Reeves, one of the best, greatest police officers to have ever lived. Andy Griffith, there's the ideal. Oh my God, the ideal. Oh, there's a situation. I'm just going to, go out there with my jacket. You're not going to take a gun, no weapons, no nothing. No, I know the two people. They get into arguments sometimes. What they need is just an arbitrator. So I'm going to go out there and I'm just going to use my name and reputation and my, goodwill that I've, done good things for both of them and try to resolve these difficulties. What's difficult going into these areas is that you're a sitting duck, explained Cruz Soto. The scary part is that when you look into these sovereign individuals with their beliefs, a lot of them legitimately believe that if you step onto their property, they could shoot you. And if you think about it, they can see you coming from a mile away. Yeah, imagine fucking living around these sons of bitches, Cruz Soto. Imagine living around these motherfucking sons of goddamn bitches. You think driving into their fucking neighborhood is fucking... Imagine living right next fucking door. A lot of them legitimately believe. So you're definitely wary, looking over your shoulder when you're in these areas, knowing that in the past these individuals have rallied the troops to respond to us. So, but be a lawful person. Well, you better pay $600 for a septic tank design, and you don't get to approve of it. Now, that's terrible business ethics. I will shove the septic tank. I hope that Colleen Romero shoves the septic tank design down fucking Heckman's throat, and Shimkovitz, and Roman and Bertini. I mean, how long have they been out there? Fucking pricks. I mean, the code has been out here for, 20 years. They've been out here for, 15? So, I don't understand. Basically, they're encouraging people to go to Costilla County and don't listen to planning and zoning. And then after 20 years, you get grandfathered in? I mean, what is this? And the people that are lawful people, not only do they get robbed of their money by the government, but the police don't offer them any kind of protection whatsoever. So what about your backup, I asked? There are other deputies in the valley, but even if they're going to go and mock Jesus, it's going to take them a good amount of time to get to us, he responded. We tried to avoid confrontation. I'd say 90 to 95% of the people on Seminole Trail by the Labato Bridge, which is their prime meeting spot, is the Labato Bridge. I mean, the petroglyphs, that's a better meeting spot. It's a little, it's not on the damn bridge. It's a little out of the way. On the damn bridge, that's obnoxious. That's too militant, too military. What are you, the trolls? Y'all gonna start doing tolls, charging everybody $1 who goes by? Nope. I'm you gotta pay the troll. You gotta pay the $1 if you want to cross the Labato Bridge. Why don't you have the meeting spot over there? It's the National Forest if you do it on Conejos County side, and that's just a good meeting spot, public meeting spot for anybody. There are other deputies in the valley. Even if they're going mock Jesus, it's going to take them a good amount of time to get to us. He responded, we tried to avoid confrontations. The DA even told us, out of all the individuals out there, I worry about you the most because you are in the mix. With all these individuals, and they stand by their beliefs. As we drove farther into no man's land, Trinidad Martinez and his 2 code enforcement officers pointed out the kind of things they look for during their patrols. People show up every day that we've never met and never seen on properties that were vacant. Yesterday, said Martinez, gesturing toward RVs and campers that dotted the landscape. The issue, he explained, is that many people buy cheap property in Costilla County, some of it through websites like landwatch.com, without realizing that owners need to adhere to the basic requirements, such as building a septic system, which costs around $7,000 when done to code, digging a well, the permanent solution to meeting the county's freshwater requirement, as opposed to a standing water tank, costs an additional $10,000. Between drilling, casing, and plumbing, $10,000 to dig a well. I only heard $20,000 to dig a damn well. And I was able to get a septic system for, probably half the cost that he estimated. Regardless, $50 down, $50 a month can sometimes get you 5 acres of land, with agents erroneously telling you that you don't need permits, said Trinidad Martinez. On a daily basis, pretty much someone will tell me, well, I bought this property, and the real estate person said we don't need permits and can live in an RV and we can do whatever we want. So rampant is the practice of subdividing and leasing that Costilla County is the most vacant county in Colorado, with only 3,600 people spread between 40,000 lots and nearly 1,900 miles of county roads. Martinez estimated that around 300 individual dwellings currently fit the description off the grid. He had no issue with them. He said as long as the owners work to comply with the county's land use code, which is put into effect I played SimCity, 1998. So they've been around, these codes have been around since 1998. And I'm pretty sure all those people out there, moved in after 1998, which means those are illegal settlements. They didn't get any of the permits that they were supposed to. What I would do, you can't really go back but because I paid for the permits. And then, the local Xanis sons of bitches started messing with me. So the right-wing movement, they didn't like that I was lawful and respectful and, good and decent, and bringing it about a civil society and talking about voting and talking about my, Democratic Republican, trying to keep it like old Benjamin Franklin had said. To combat the illegal dumping of trash and wastewater, but it's only been seriously enforced since 2011. I like SimCity. Some people have, business districts. Some areas are business, commercial. Some places are industrial. So it's going to be factories and a lot of, factory waste. Commercial, there's a lot of waste with commercial. And then residential, nice, quiet, sleepy little, town, little village, little sleepy little village, so you can feel comfortable and then get in your car and drive into the commercial areas and either get a job or buy and sell or trade or go to the government spots or whatever. While Costilla County has land use regulations, it doesn't have a building code. So many of the off-the-grid dwellings look like what you might find in a dystopian desert wasteland. Vince Edwards' half-buried RV is one example. The code enforcer showed it to me, tucked away in an arid part of the plains that locals refer to as Iraqi Flats because of the desert-like vegetation. What? We also toured property once occupied by a character that Soto, Martinez, and Romero referred to as Dr. Love. The dwelling was strategically located on one side of a rise so that it was not visible from the county road, and Martinez said he only found it after seeing the structure on a satellite image. That's like a doghouse or some kind of volcanic rock igloo. I don't know what it is, said Trinidad Martinez, gesturing toward an 8-foot tall pile of rocks that was hollow inside and had been laboriously constructed next to a wooden shack. Trinidad Martinez said he understands that many people have trouble meeting the financial demands of land use requirements, and added that he feels sympathy for those duped by real estate agents who claim that no permits are necessary. Unfortunately, we still have to give them a violation notice. This is 2017. There's a lot of people out there that didn't get a violation notice. If we find them living without septic, a lot of times they'll say you shouldn't be living here. There's a 14-day camping limit. You know, because I paid so much and did so much for the septic tank, I kind of felt like I earned, some respect, and they needed to back off and kind of let me build my thing. But because I didn't have police protection, I only had Tecumseh. Tecumseh was the only police officer that would protect and serve me in Costilla County. I would go out and get lumber, come back, and he was there. Once he was, run over and killed and dead, then I didn't have any police protection whatsoever. So I couldn't go out and build. I couldn't continue on with what I was trying to do. I couldn't get a job, couldn't go find a wife. I couldn't do goddamn shit. When you're being fucking terrorized by a stalker, we'll give you a couple weeks to figure stuff out. We'll give you a couple weeks to figure stuff out. About halfway through the ride-along, so they're kind of threatening that they're going to, ransack the place and terrorize them and say, get the hell out of here. But I don't mind the permits, and as long as there's progress, as long as, you go back there and, okay, they put up a gate, they put up a fence, they put up a thing, they did a thing. Give people a chance. Don't, come back the next day and be like, how come you didn't get the thing or whatever done? Take notes, videotape, and it be encouraging. You want people to succeed, especially, working class families. Ethical, good, virtuous, working class families, farmers, virtuous. You want virtuous people is what you want. There's a 14-day camping limit. We'll give you a couple of About halfway through the ride along, we arrived at an area where Costilla McDonald owned land and built their residency. Interesting. Costilla and McDonald lived by the Lobato Bridge. If they weren't in custody, we probably wouldn't be out here, Cruz Soto admitted. I'm glad to see the rat bastard gone, frankly. I even ran back to the vehicle last week. I think they're pretty much all of the main motherfuckers are gone. And what about the neighbors? Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. How could you live next to all the crap that they were up to and all the crap that they were doing and just shrug your shoulders and then turn your head, put your head in the sand, or did you know about it and participate? Apparently there's like some sort of uncle or something in Mesita, McDonald's, and Trinidad had said something about that they were passing the kids back and forth to each other. 6 sons of bitches. I mean, you have a whole bunch of them. Foley, O'Reilly, what was that guy in Alabama? Looked like the back trailer window at Costilla's was open and the curtain moved, Romero added, so I thought that someone was going to shoot at us. The officers wondered whether any family members would still be at the residences following the arrest. Sure enough, as we drove past the McDonald's dwelling, 2 children emerged from a windowless shack and yelled at us to go away. You got to go! Go! Yelled a boy. This is a public road, responded Cruz Soto from the driver's seat of the SUV. It's not private. This is a public road. Well, my parents say you can't be right here right now. Well, I'm not on your private property. Then a different voice shouted from the shack, get inside, and the 2 children suddenly disappeared from view. Cruz Soto then produced a cease and desist notice from inside the car and asked, should I just post it on the RV boss? Sounds good, responded Trinidad Martinez. You got the gorilla tape? While at the Naval Postgraduate School in Monterey, California, Brian Slater spent 15 months researching sovereigns of the United States going back through the past decade. The movement stretches even further back than that, with roots in the Posse Comitatus movement that emerged during the American farm crisis of the 70s and 80s and branches in the Montana Freemen of the mid-90s. Slater's research, released as his postgraduate thesis in September 2016, studied court cases throughout the country related to sovereign individuals as evidenced by the types of filings submitted by defendants or the crimes being prosecuted, including paper terrorism. Slater, who notes that his injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Silence isn't violence, it's compliance. Silence is, if you have an elephant stepping on the tail of a mouse, you being silent, how do you feel if you're the mouse? Oh yeah, just go ahead and take pictures and then take notes and then sue them later? Sue them in civil court? No, that's not fair, that's not cool, that's not nice. Oh, I need to stay non-biased. You need to stay non-biased, yeah. You being silent during a situation of injustice, you've chosen the side of the oppressor, you've chosen the side of the criminal. You've been silent, you were silent, you said nothing, I don't want to, people be totally up in people's business, but you'd be hard pressed with the way that people were acting and the criminal activity that I saw in 2020 and 2021 in Costilla County. I would say that the right-wing sovereign movement is still out there and they're still active. Which sucks because when Rodriguez, and six Rodriguez, right? So Serpico, Bass Reeves, Andy Griffith, Frank Phillips, and Ricky Rodriguez. Those are my six. So, what was I saying? He says it's happening in all 50 states. You think it'd be concentrated where there was earlier movements like in Montana, but it wasn't the case. I found it was predominant in Illinois, California, and New Jersey. In Colorado is what I would say medium to light as far as concentration goes. Slater responds, that being said, it's on the rise. While Slater cautions that his data mostly covers the Obama years and that he isn't sure what effect, Ricky Rodriguez is going to arrest both Costilla and McDonald. They're going to get arrested and they're going to get, a whole slew of charges that Dan McDonald, the Costilla got accused of impersonating a police officer and child abuse. McDonald's got accused of child abuse and a whole bunch of other stuff, threatening a public official and some other charges. But he's going to get 40 years for the child abuse. And the child abuse goes on and on and on, like 20 to 30 to 40 different charges of child abuse. And so I don't know if that was from Alabama or Pennsylvania, because that's where he had came from. He was in Costilla County for 5 years. And so no telling what was going on there from 2013 to 2017. He's going to get sentenced October 1st, 2017. And then next year and a month, I move into the RV park, I guess. I stayed at the RV park in my RV, and then for a year worked on building a septic tank out there, talked to planning and zoning. So all this crap was, if anything, I was kind of happy. Thank you all for cleaning all the shit up. No, I appreciate you cleaning all the fucking shit up, and there's still some more shit that needs to be cleaned up, but I was happy that eventually the name was taken off the property. But there's there's more work to be done. It'd be nice if we kept on cleaning this shit up, but we can't allow that was the death knell when Ricky Rodriguez arrested McDonald and motherfucking Costilla. That was the death knell to the right-wing movement in Costilla County, and Saya motherfucking Nara, good fucking riddance. Why don't you, they got caucuses. There's so much democracy in Colorado. There's no Republican Party. There's no organized Republican Party that has monthly meetings. There's actually no organized Democratic Party that has organized monthly meetings. So really, both of the parties need to get organized, because when people have, grievances and gripes and bellyaches, it might just be they need someone to talk to, or there's something actually going down and they need to be heard and listened to, because injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. When you chose neutrality during a situation of injustice, that's just an elephant stepping on a mouse's tail. I'm just going to keep on walking over this way. You chose the side of the elephant. You chose the side of the oppressor. You chose the side of the criminal. Slater cautions his data mostly covers the Obama years. He isn't sure what the effect of the current administration. He says he doesn't think the person occupying the White House makes much of a difference to believers. Sovereigns appear to be focused on how the United States has become corrupted over the past 200 years, not just recently. As for the number of sovereigns throughout the United States, Slater says that's a squishy statistic. I like, what's his name? Huey Long. Huey Long said every man a king. But he said every man a king because every man, was going to get their, plot of ground. But, a chicken in every pot and a car in every garage. Everybody was going to do good. You were going to get your own house and get your own car, have your own career. Every man a king because there is going to be more social spending. An increase of social spending increases our freedom. More social spending increases our freedoms, not detracts. Social spending is good for America. It's good for the economy. It's good for the people that it's being spent upon. It's good for the politicians so they could say, hey, citizens, look what we did for you. Slater says it's a squishy statistic. It's also you don't have to worry about health. Could you imagine just you're sick, you go to the hospital, you get taken care of, and then you walk out. You are wanting to be educated about how to do welding. There's welding classes. You sign up, you walk in, you learn how to weld, you walk out. Learn how to computer code, learn how to actually get some transferable skills. And wouldn't that be better, actually? I mean, there's an inherent logic with Milton Friedman economics. I give you $1 and you give me an old crappy tire. Well, that's fair and even. That's even Steven. That's fair and square. I like fair and square. And so, in some respects, the foundation for capitalism is it's fair and square as long as we're all starting at the same, essentially the same. In Monopoly, everybody gets, $1,000 in the beginning. If you're a prisoner, if you're being oppressed, you can't separate your freedom from mine, so you can't make a fair and square deal. But essentially, if everybody starts out with $1,000 or with a UBI check, then, capitalism should work. Capitalism should work. Milton Friedman economics should work because it's fair. I made an agreement. You cut my lawn, I'll pay you $100. You cut my lawn, here's $100. That's fair and square. If you don't do your part, if I don't do my part, then we're both, fucking up the contract. We're breaching the contract. And contracts are sacred, not just for the capitalists, but for constitutionalists. It's in the U.S. Constitution. It's in, I think, Colorado's Constitution, too. The Southern Poverty Law Center says there's about 100,000 to 300,000 sovereign individuals in the United States. Whatever the true number, Slater cautions against writing off sovereigns. Woo! As a bunch of crackpots, as has frequently occurred in media reports, the sovereign ideology itself is not crazy. He says, yes, the criminal acts are criminal, but their train of thought is not un-American. If you were to ask a non-sovereign citizen, do you think our government has gone off the rails, or are there illegitimate portions of the tax code? Nobody would fucking, what? We got a tax code? Our government gone off the rails? People always join in with, the damn politicians. I remember my uncle bitching about the politicians, and then I was like, what do you think about George W. Bush? Oh, he's a good guy, but he's a politician. Nope, not him. Do you even know what words mean? Are we even having a real conversation? Is communication even being established right now? Plenty of non-sovereign individuals. The word sovereign just strikes of royalty. And so when I was saying every man a king, I like presidents. When I think of the president, I'm in all of the presidency. The president had to convince the people to elect him, and he's got all these millions and millions of people backing him. A fucking king just said, hey, I'm boss, and fuck you. And then, a long time ago, his great-great-great-granddaddy militarily conquered everybody, terrorized everybody, the best, I guess. His army beat the rest of them, and then that same damn family has just been oppressing the rest of nobody needs that shit. Fuck royalism. Fuck authoritarian. Fuck. I love democracy. I love the democratic republic. So in some respects, we elect our king. And then once we give our power to the king, the governor, the mayor, or the president, then they, for 4 years can do as they please. They are the fucking king. And that's worked because it's got the consent of the governed. And then it also has the versatility of, that's what the monarch would say. Well, I can do whatever I want. Fucking mayors and presidents and governors basically could do what they want. See, whatever the true number, Slater cautions against writing off sovereigns as a bunch of crackpots. Bruce Doucette is being held at the Denver Downtown Detention Center. I made a request to the Denver Sheriff's Department that I be allowed to visit. Doucette declined to see me, instead referring me to a spokesman named Roger Dowdell, who said he was located with a team in Florida. Dowdell reiterated many of the things I heard when talking to folks like Jeremy Costilla. There's no such thing as a sovereign citizen. When you look up the word citizen, it means subject. And when you put a word meaning the highest ruler, sovereign, next to a word meaning subject, it's an oxymoron. It doesn't mean nothing. Man, fuck you. I like the village. I like that we live in a bicameral and a bi-federal. I like our federalist. We have both the state constitution and the federal constitution, and then we have a local charter a lot of times for the city, village, county. There's 100 local home rule cities in Colorado. So I believe in the village being supreme because that's where the town hall meetings, that's where, I feel like government should be small when it comes to spending and money. But when it comes to democracy, government should be so big it includes every single one of us. And that begins at the village level. What's happening is that people